Welcome to this explainer. Look, we're going to jump right in today with a powerful hook and then break things down step by step. So if you're young, ambitious, and just completely exhausted by the same old lies we're all fed about money, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're tackling a pretty harsh truth presented in our source material. Society actually wants you to accept a perfectly normal, average-paying life. And if you dare to want more than a mediocre salary and, maybe one modest vacation a year, they try to shame you into thinking you're greedy. But here is the reality. What's truly greedy is a system designed to keep you stuck at the absolute bottom, while the rich quietly enjoy a life of limitless freedom. So we're going to break down the exact 5-stage process from the source to break out of that system and build real, lasting wealth.
To really set the tone, I want you to think about this idea. If you aren't building your own dream, someone else will literally hire you to build theirs. It perfectly captures the danger of just floating through life. I mean, really think about it for a second. Nobody's waking up in the morning, pouring their coffee and thinking, how can I make you rich today? Right? The only person who is ever going to put your success first is you. If you're just a passive participant in your own life, you're basically volunteering to be a tool for someone else's success. You have to start putting yourself first.
So here is our step-by-step agenda for today. Stage 1, the trap of drifting. Stage 2, the power of obsession. Stage 3, discovering a proven pathway. Stage 4, accelerating through the grind. And finally, Stage 5, true freedom and wealth. Let's get right into Step 1.
Stage 1 is the trap of drifting. This is what happens when you're just floating through life instead of aggressively taking control of the wheel.
There is a huge contrast in mindsets here. You know the type, a drifter. They're completely paralyzed by choices. They're sitting there wondering, is the fastest way to get rich drop shipping? Is it crypto? Day trading? They just freeze up. They're so terrified of picking the wrong path that they end up floating aimlessly from one dead-end job to the next, just sitting around crossing their fingers for a lottery win. They'll even make excuses, saying nonsense like, well, money doesn't buy happiness anyway. But on the flip side, a wealth builder takes absolute, ruthless control. They pick a direction and they steer. The crucial takeaway here is that there is absolutely zero shame in striving for money, because money equals freedom and freedom equals happiness. The whole money doesn't matter thing, that's just a lie the rich have fed the poor for decades to eliminate the competition.
And that realization brings us right to Stage 2, the power of obsession. This is entirely about making the single, firm decision to completely change your trajectory. It really all comes down to the power of one. You must focus on a single goal. You can literally change your entire life in a split second by making one unwavering choice. To stop drifting like a log in a river and instead become unashamedly obsessed with getting rich. Now, a super common mistake is getting arrogant. People try to get rich while, simultaneously attempting to learn the guitar, train for a marathon, and become fluent in Spanish all at the exact same time. Honestly, it's kind of ridiculous. Becoming rich is something only an incredibly tiny percentage of the global population will ever achieve. You just can't get there while juggling a dozen other hobbies. You have to lock in on this one thing and completely tune out all the noise.
Once you have that laser focus, we hit Stage 3, discovering a proven pathway. This is where we learn to copy success instead of foolishly trying to reinvent the wheel.
Look, the market pays you in direct proportion to the value you provide. But here is the incredibly great news. You do not have to be some groundbreaking innovator like Steve Jobs to provide value. You really don't need a revolutionary idea. There are highly effective, proven pathways you can start copying right now today. We're talking high-value skills like video editing, dropshipping, deal negotiating, short-form content creation, or even running a highly optimized eBay store. The absolute fastest way to close your current skill gap is to find a mentor or, honestly, just someone who's a few steps ahead of you in one of these spaces and just copy their blueprint. You don't need to guess your way to the top. Just skip the early mistakes by strictly following the path they've already paved.
Basically, it's about finding the cheat code. The source material shares an awesome story about this. Back in his 20s, the narrator wanted to open a radio-controlled model shop. But instead of just wildly guessing how to run one, taking out a massive loan and hoping for the best, he actually took a Saturday job in a local model shop. And he didn't do it for the minimum wage weekend cash. He went in acting like a sponge. He asked non-stop questions, chatted with every single customer, and figured out exactly what was holding that specific business back. He essentially uncovered the exact cheat code to running that business successfully before risking a dime of his own capital. You have to find your own cheat code.
Once you've got that cheat code in your hands, you violently hit Stage 4, accelerating through the grind, doing the brutal reps and seeking out honest feedback.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
You launch that first Shopify store, or you offer your video editing services for totally free just to get the vital reps in. And here is a brutal truth you just have to accept. Before you can be great at anything, you have to be totally willing to suck at it first. As you put those reps in, you're going to desperately need feedback. But whatever you do not ask your family and friends. Instinctively, they just want to protect your feelings. They usually don't have industry experience, and frankly, they give terrible advice because they don't want to hurt you. What you absolutely need is the outside bubble. Constructive criticism and brutal honesty from objective strangers. If you're blindly charging down the wrong path, you need someone completely outside your emotional circle to aggressively point out what's holding you back so you can pivot immediately.
And pushing through that grind brings us to a phase known as the lonely chapter. It is brutal, but it's a completely mandatory part of the journey. The source shares this incredibly powerful real-life story of a son who skipped university to learn videography. He didn't go off to college parties or live that typical student life. Instead, he just grinded away alone in his room. He put in the agonizing reps, refined his skills, and literally lost contact with his old childhood friends who just didn't share his massive ambitions. He got stuck in this really strange, isolating middle ground. He was too ambitious to relate to his old buddies, but not quite successful enough yet to hang out with his mentors. It takes a crazy amount of internal dedication to push through this lonely chapter without giving up and just slipping back into being average.
But hey, if you survive that lonely chapter and just keep iterating, you finally arrive at stage 5, true freedom and wealth, the ultimate endgame of reinvestment.
At this point, those skills you've been brutally mastering in isolation, they start to rapidly compound. You've closed the gap, followed the pathway, and now you have the incredible ability to work from absolutely anywhere. But wait, we really need to clear something up. There is a massive difference between being rich and being wealthy. They are not the same thing. Being rich is loud. It's flashy cars, designer clothes, and luxury vacations bought purely to impress other people. It's super fragile. Being wealthy, though, that is quiet. It's about strategically reinvesting your earnings into brand new skills, setting up multiple passive income streams, and securing unbreakable long-term wealth. Honestly, genuinely wealthy people look at young folks blowing all their new cash just to look rich, and they aren't impressed at all. They're just disappointed by the wasted potential.
So, when you finally start making real money, where should you put it? The answer is incredibly simple. You are the asset. Let that sink in. The absolute most valuable investment you will ever make in your entire life is not in some new cryptocurrency, it's not in the hottest tech stock, it isn't even in real estate, it's in yourself. You are the single asset that you are guaranteed to hold for your entire life, and the high-income skills you develop right now will compound year after year exactly like invested money does.
When you break down the actual return on investment, the difference is just staggering. Buying consumer junk, that gives you a terribly low, literally negative return. Traditional stocks, sure, they give a decent, medium return over a long time. But investing in your own skills, that provides an astronomically high return. Spending just a couple of hours every single day reading books, watching educational content, or networking in success-driven communities, that yields the highest return on investment mathematically possible for any human being. So I'm going to leave you with this direct challenge. Will you spend your next $200 on the newest iPhone or on yourself? I want you to genuinely think about that today. Because whatever money you blow on meaningless items right now just to impress people you don't even like, you are quite literally stealing from your own future self. So make the definitive decision right now. Stop drifting. Get fiercely obsessed. Find your proven pathway. Grind through that lonely chapter. And go build true lasting wealth. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. If this roadmap sparked your ambition, believe me, there is so much more depth to these wealth-building strategies waiting for you to uncover. Go explore the source material and make that first real step toward your absolute freedom today. Catch you next time.